John Van's gonna be phoning in tonight. And we're starting. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen for February 6, 2023. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And public comment? No? Okay. Department head committee items. Recognize Jason Fisk regarding the transfer station compactor.
So we got recycling mechanical at Allenstown coming out on Wednesday
Okay.
for another quote. We're gonna get, hopefully try to get them to look at our balers at the same time as well.
Okay.
If we have to get Atlantic back to look at those, we will. But yeah, that's pretty much the only two games in the state.
I thought so. I didn't think there was many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to have a third, we can.
No,
call
no,
bids, but-
two's good. I mean,
Yeah,
just something to compare, apples and oranges with.
Yeah,
How many balers do we have up there? 3?
3.
4.
4.
One down back,
Yeah,
but I wouldn't worry about that one.
yeah.
What were you guys using the one down back for?
We did 3 through 7s.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, all right. And then,
So that's pretty much it for the transfer station, just trying to keep you guys updated. The blower,
yep,
it's gonna be double the price at least of the broom.
okay.
If we put it on the loader, it's not gonna be quite as easy to put it on the excavator and bring it out on the road to do road work.
Okay.
I didn't imagine the loader was something that we were gonna take out and blow ditches out with. So
Now
I
is-
kinda just need some direction from you guys on.
Okay. Does that have replaceable brushes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
John, did you hear that?
Yeah, I got most of it. It's not cost effective to go with a blower. That's fine. It was just something I wanted to investigate. I just want to make sure we covered all our potential bases. That's it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, the brush will meet the need and it will satisfy DOT and prevent the.
And
the
probably
risk-
OSHA and
the risk factor, yeah.
Yeah.
our
for sure.
insurance company too, I'm sure.
I mean, $3,000 is a whole lot better than $3 million.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so
Alright.
yeah, that's, I'm a go on that.
just where's it gonna come from? That'd be my other
I'll
question.
make a motion.
Yeah, but where's the money gonna come from? Okay, it's fine.
I make a motion that let the DPW purchase a broom and additional mounting adapter up to $3,600. The money to come from the transfer station equipment fund. This is to clean off the top of the trailers down there.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Perfect, thank you. And we do have the lift secured. I know that
Okay.
was a question we had last week, but
Yeah,
Oh, for the bridge.
we do
Yeah.
have that
Nice.
secured.
That's good to know.
That same one? Was
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, because that's coming up fast.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have is, we know spring's coming up fast, mower.
Okay,
We kind of gotta,
yeah,
you guys gotta talk about what you want to do. I have an idea what's gonna happen, but we'll have to get ourselves on somebody's schedule or
right.
get it lined up before.
Get it lined up, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so if you guys wanna chat amongst yourselves, I guess, and
okay,
figure
yeah,
out what we wanna do, let me know.
yeah.
do you have, so where are we now, 13th? March 1 early enough for us to give you a decision on the
Yeah.
3 options you gave us?
Yeah,
Your first meeting would be March 6th, I think.
Well,
Okay.
first week of March.
First week of March,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
it's the next
would that be
meeting.
fair enough?
Well, yeah,
Okay,
Everybody good with that? We have 3 options presented in that package.
yeah.
Okay, We'll have an answer for you March 1st.
Well,
The
first week of
meeting.
March.
The first
First
meeting
March.
in March.
Yep,
So,
that's all I have.
awesome, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Recognize Chief Moore for a radio infrastructure update.
All right.
Got copies, so you guys can follow along.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nope, wrong one.
Is that your email? I did print it for them.
Yeah, we have the email.
Yeah, we have your
I
email.
Actually printed it.
Okay.
No, we didn't. So probably just the heat map.
Anybody want a copy? It's a coverage map and where we're at with the radio structure, infrastructure. Shirley? You guys want?
Okay. All right.
So front and back, just an overview, 2022, we identified 4 tower sites, which provide the radio coverage necessary for emergency services. Mine Hill, Norris Road, Toby Hill, Concord Stage. December 2nd of 2022, we confirmed 0 reoccurring fees on Pyramid Network service towers, which are Norris Road and Toby Hill. On December 7th of 2022, American Tower, which was Concord Stage, reviewed the town's zoning ordinance to determine if the ordinance provided town with co-location rights. January 18th, 2023, American Tower, which owns Concord Stage, disputes the town's position for co-location rights. They initially proposed a lease agreement for $1,900 a month. That would be $22,800 annually for a 14-year lease. We requested further clarification from American Tower Legal's Department. January 31st, 2023, they responded. They provided, and essentially what they did, they said their tower predated our zoning ordinance, even though they've done work on the tower, which would put them in with our zoning ordinance, but the zoning ordinance does not cover ground locations, which we would also need to put a generator on. So that's where they were essentially getting their money. They did reduce their proposal to $950 a month or $11,400 annually. Also on that date, we conferred with Jason. They'll be able to start performing site work at tower sites in March, beginning of April. They do have the capabilities to complete this work. Currently, they're working to raise Mine Hill, which is Crown Castle Tower. Crown Castle initially gave us approval that there would be no reoccurring fees. They're scheduled for completion mid-February. Once completed, they'll do line-of-sight testing, which will be performed by two-way communications just to verify the project communication feasibility. They have to be able to talk to each other. We did recognize one new thing, since they're putting new equipment on the tower, even though we're at the same location. We do have to apply for that, which was in two-way's proposal. The fees already are in the contract associated with that. However, they could charge reoccurring fees. We do have oral verification from their representative today that is highly unlikely to occur. They expect us, since we're not raising or getting a new location, there will be no reoccurring fees. Can't guarantee it. She said absolute worst case scenario, maybe $200 a month, just to throw that out there.
Run that by me again.
So we previously had equipment on Mine Hill, which is owned by Crown Castle. There's never been a contract in place. I guess it was a handshake way back in the day.
Okay.
They're raising their tower, and they're putting new equipment
Yes.
on the tower for us. Because we're putting new equipment instead of old equipment, we're actually going to have to go through the application process, which was already in the proposal, done by two-way. And they could reassess and initiate reoccurring fees on that. Talking to the representative, that's highly unlikely. She said worst case scenario, $200 a month, but they fully support emergency services, and she doesn't see that very often. But we do have to go through the actual application process to confirm that.
All right. My thought is that tower was up, I guess, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we even think it's on town land, if we're not mistaken.
Nah, I don't think
No?
tower is, no,
Okay.
no.
We weren't sure about that one.
Okay.
But
no.
we have very good relations with
Yeah.
them, so.
Oh, yeah.
So the current decision for the Board of Selectmen, and of course it's around American Tower Concord Stage. Do we want to legally challenge American Tower's assessment for co-location rights based on our current zoning ordinance, or do we want to build the tower? It's about 1.2 miles away. It would be owned by the town. It's at the East Station location, which would replace Concord Station location. If you look at your maps, the first map is the new coverage locations for the 4 radio towers. The back page maps would be the old locations. Two-way projects it to be at the maximum $150,000 as a safe number to build the tower. He does report costs are increasing, so the sooner we make a decision, the better he can put a contract together to get it signed and they can get to work.
Okay, thank you. Is the idea, I don't understand it, but is the idea the single color of yellow is better?
The red is the best.
Red is the best. Blue is really starting to decrease, but still viable.
This meets Motorola standards when they initially designed that system, where we're guaranteed 95% coverage. Now, this is a two-way map. Motorola didn't do this because we had two-way do it for us, but coverage is still projected to be very, very good, even with the new system.
If you look at the talk in between Congress Stage and East Station, it actually looks like it improves a little bit. So Officer 2 Tower would be a little bit better.
I would agree with that.
But,
Out in East Weare.
right, using the station. Talk out from the towers to the officers, a little decreased by the looks of it, in a couple of spots. But a little bit better coverage in the East Weare area by the looks of it, talk out. So, but it looks like it's still gonna be troublesome around the Horse Lake area and up on the Mountain Road, Cram Road area. And that doesn't matter if we move that one or not, so. But, my only question with this whole project is, do we need to do, as a town, I know we talked about it, because we own the land, but is there any type of surveying or evaluation that needs to be made for that East Ware station? As far as, I know that we can, again, flex the setback rules a little bit, obviously, but I just wanna make sure that this land-wise, that we're safe to mount what we have.
Are you talking about cost, or you just want to make sure we do a survey prior to final approval?
I think he's curious to see if we have enough land to do everything we want.
Correct.
Okay.
That's my thing, is do we actually have enough parcel to do what we need to do?
If,
Small parcel, but.
I guess
It's a
I could
very
come
small
tomorrow
parcel.
and get a copy of the map plot and send it to two-way for them to assess to make sure it's enough.
I just want to make sure that
Yep.
land plot is big enough. My second question is it feasible, and I'm not trying, I know now we have a different scenario in front of us. Is it feasible for two-way to put the equipment inside the station in a cabinet inside? Would that save us any money?
Versus a pad outside.
Versus a pad outside that we have to run power to and climate control. There's already heat in the station, even in the summer, because it's a brick building, it doesn't get warm in there at all. It stays very comfortable. The truck doesn't roll that often, so we're not constantly keeping the door open. I think last I heard, that hut was almost $25,000 of that bill,
Okay.
the outside hut, and pouring a concrete pad, et cetera.
So you want to eliminate the hut?
If possible, if we can put the equipment inside, I mean, may have to put it in a nice, obviously, a different cabinet. We're not just gonna toss it on a
Right.
shelf, but, I'm thinking that because it won't have to have outdoor protection, that potentially it could be a little cheaper.
Okay, so.
Just a thought.
Just options for,
Yeah, for use of the facility.
Okay.
For storage of the equipment,
Is
right?
there enough room for the, I haven't been
Oh,
in
yeah.
there, for the
There's-
equipment and the
there's plenty of
truck
room.
that's there?
Yeah, there's plenty of room.
Okay.
There's plenty of room, so, as far as I know there is. And like I said, there's heat in there, it doesn't get very warm. I know that climate control is a huge thing with electronics, but it doesn't get warm in that building, so, just a thought.
so there's a pre-existing building. I haven't been to that site.
Fire station,
Oh,
the East Ware Fire Station. I should hope there's a pre-existing building still there.
Yeah.
Last I was in there, correct, so we're gonna have that real estate too, yeah, so.
So the only other, I mean, 150-foot tower, I think is equivalent to the new one, the same one the new one they just put down in that police station in Goffstown. Do the neighbors have, I mean, is there any visual, are we gonna get any pushback when all of a sudden this thing pops onto
Yeah, I don't know.
the landscape, the horizon? I mean, is it gonna, it's gonna impact people's property values? I mean, they're not pretty to look at.
Let me ask this,
so
when he built.
I did get confirmation, yes, it can go in the fire station, and yes, it will be cheaper because it's inside. Bill's watching.
Perfect, see? Well, there we go. All right, well, since he's on the blower, what is the actual footprint of the tower? I'll give him a few seconds to answer, but what's the actual footprint of the tower
Watching.
on the ground? Because, I mean, Goffstown has a significant tower to begin with, their existing one, and I know they went up a couple of feet, but I don't know how tall that structure actually is.
Yeah, I think it's 150.
Is it?
Another
I-
question, is it a freestanding tower or is it a guide tower?
Is it a guided tower, or is it a freestanding tower?
I'm pretty sure it's 120 feet too.
Is
Yeah,
it 120?
I think it's
Okay.
120. So I think that also reduces that footprint. So,
15 by 15 underground.
okay.
That's a
What's
plan.
what's the actual tower structure itself, though? Like the steel that's going up,
base.
that footprint? Yeah, I know it's 15 by 15 concrete structure under the ground, et cetera.
Yeah.
So,
I'm watching.
that's fine. That's fine. So, no, I think, again, I just want to make sure that
Sure.
it's I mean, it's practical as far as it looks good on paper, but when we actually start breaking ground, I just want to make sure that it's 100%.
Nope, that's
I
all.
think we all,
Unguided.
we are seriously considering putting a tower at the East Ware Station. We need to be good neighbors and we need to contact the abutters and I think it would be in our best interest, be proactive and talk to them, also advise them of what we're proposing, and listen to their concerns.
Okay. It's unguided, John, by the way.
Oh, so it's freestanding,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Okay, yep. So, and you did hear what he just mentioned? Okay, so,
And that's exactly was my point, John. I mean, Ricky too, is
Yeah.
that we definitely should let people know.
yeah, before we
because
just
this
start
is-
digging and erecting and so.
We can send people out there. You want us to send people out there?
I
Tell them what's
think
proposed?
it'd be a good community action. I think it would
Do it
be.
as a mailer.
No, I think
Yeah.
101, I think is probably a
I think
better,
there's only two, isn't there?
huh?
Yeah, there's one really.
You got the Elsley Field,
Ilsley and then, what's his name?
Capital.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Guy across the
Dragon.
street.
yeah, yeah,
It's Dragon.
yeah. And then maybe even the two across the street.
Okay.
Or the farm guy there, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Michael
'cause-
Cook.
Yeah,
I mean,
We can get with everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have that out of the way, so also we
yeah.
don't get a screeching halt.
Like I said, also looks proactive on.
I'm sure we can take care of that this week. And they added that 5 to 6 feet off the building would be where they want to put the tower with all the gear inside.
Okay. And we're still looking at about that 130 to 150 mark, I'm assuming, okay.
With a little cost savings from what you just proposed.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Did he say how tall it was?
120.
120.
And that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I recall that being,
I can't see the attendees there. How much, do we get verification of how much money is left out of ARPA that has not been allocated?
I'm sure we can. Give Naomi a minute here.
Do something.
She's working on it.
Two 239,994.80.
And that's not committed
So
to
what
the
it
warrant
was,
article?
was 269, and I took the 30 out for the cruiser.
So it's 230 what?
239,994.
237, 240.
Okay, approximately 240,000.
Yep.
Okay, so enough to cover this tower.
Yep.
And Sergeant Montplaisir thinks it's a 130-foot tower, not a 120-foot tower.
Okay, well, roughly, but not 150. Not one, probably about,
I've never heard
probably about the
150.
size of what 100 has right now, Goffstown.
Yeah.
I think that's about 130. I think they want about 20, 25 feet. So, okay. John, do you have any other questions?
More from an aesthetic standpoint, the tower that we're proposing. I know that if we're talking just a standard tower, that we're not trying to beautify or anything like that, how much more would it cost to get one of those ones that look like a fake tree? I know it's going to look ugly as you know what, but if that's going to be something that,
Or if we can paint it green or something to try and mix in,
correct, yeah, something that's going to help make it not as ugly.
instead of looking galvanized and
Correct.
sticking out like a sore, you know what?
Yep.
So John, if I understand you correctly, this is in the event we have pushback for the standard galvanized, if people,
That's correct. Can we be proactive and ask two-way to see
If it's available.
there are options to,
Yep.
I don't want to say beautify, but not make it as ugly.
I like to not make it as ugly statement. That's pretty
Yeah.
good, yeah. Yeah, so. All right.
Nope.
And then as for the question about do we want to pursue legal clarification, I'd say they already put their foot down in terms of what they're willing to give us. I don't think it's worth our legal battle, our legal line, when we have a seemingly very viable alternative at East Weare, where we're not going to have to potentially spend thousands of dollars of legal money and then still not get what we need.
That's kind of that was my thinking when I was reading the email from the chief today is,
yeah, I mean,
it's
that's,
probably not worth our time or
it's gonna
energy.
be a year-long
Yeah.
litigation.
And then if
so-
we lose, we're just that far behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So-
And then we're still a year or two out from getting a radio system, and we as a town has been way too long in getting this radio system up. So,
Absolutely. Yep.
My vote is, they've come back to us after requested clarification. Let's move on and let's find another viable alternative and just ignore that location.
Yeah. So you want to circle back next meeting?
Yep.
With an update?
Nope, that'll work, and
Okay.
that just gave us direction to go with Bill too, so.
Yeah, so
That gets
yes.
the ball rolling.
So he can also get
Yep.
get all the thought comes together, so.
Easy button.
All right, okay, that's what I
so
like.
option one's off the table.
The what?
Yeah,
Your option one is off the table.
Yes,
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. So,
Okay,
very good.
and I had one more item.
Uh-oh. Oh, you're pushing your luck now.
Okay, so it's just kind of a response to what's been said about the whole merit increase stuff. When I was hired, and there's a lot of confusion whether I'm on a contract agreement, I'm not under anything. I was hired under an agreement, but after I was hired, that kind of expired. I was no 3-year or anything like that, just for clarification, so everybody knows. But there was a town philosophy. Treat all employees fairly, and all non-union employees are placed in the pool for annual COLA raises. It's only a raise if it exceeds COLA. Does that make sense? Because it's not really a raise if you're only keeping up with inflation. You're just getting a COLA. The January 24th meeting, and these are just summarized, it's been brought to your attention multiple years and multiple conversations that the percentage increases looks different to those at the bottom of the tiers than those at the top. So what had been done previously? 2019, Article 6, warrant article, there was an increase in hourly wages of DPW workers by $1 for each employee. Passed overwhelmingly. 2019, Article 8, increased the standby pay for Weare fire department personnel. Passed with almost a 2-to-1 ratio. 2021, Article 12, increased the wages of Chase Park employees. Again, almost a 2-to-1 passing rate. No warrant article was initiated this year, even though there was consistent history of getting support from the voters for this type of issue. Now, how the Board of Selectmen proposed to address the problem. There are certain positions that plateau, they cap, they reach the top pay, which I agree with. If there's a pay scale, obviously you only get so many raises. I would like to point out, I'm below cost of living since I've been here, so I've actually lost money in the last 4 years, just to point that out. Chairman Hippler indicated that the move toward merit-based pay adjustments, however, the intent was to provide a funding pool to bring up the lower paid employees to make it worthwhile to work in Weare. And we were going to use the New Hampshire Municipal Association wage study as a reference. In the deliberative session on February 4th, the Finance Committee is in favor of moving away from across-the-board pay raise. The Board of Selectmen also want to move to a merit-based waged approach. So what is being proposed as a merit system is a new system to penalize upper management employees to provide wage adjustments for newer employees. As a new employee, the methodology that you're talking about is very confusing for the following reasons. The potential pay adjustment this year is a 5%, which is the inflation is far exceeded, as I mentioned, so this would just be a cost of living, not even keeping up with inflation. The Board of Selectmen just provided, a month prior, a 20% raise to an employee, which had a valuation of approximately $20,000. Since Chairman Hippler acknowledged conversations regarding the impact of percentage raises have been going on for years, why was this not a consideration in that raise? Why would it be consideration which targets other upper management employees? If a comparison of 14 towns were used to establish a baseline for this raise, why cannot those 14 towns be used for the remainder of the employees? I would also like to request a copy of those 14 towns which were used. If you're speaking of implementing evaluations and correlating merit increases which have been developed with the assistance of HR to eliminate bias, I would fully support that. After all, I read about my predecessors and know where I currently stand. However, it appears the merit increases which are being proposed are biased, and there's a implication there. How is the Department of Labor going to interpret that, since your upper management tend to be older? It's age discrimination. So, as mentioned with the positions plateauing, like I said, I did a quick thing. We always use the Social Security COLA. Since I've been here, that's at 17.5%. I'm currently at 9%. If the 5% goes through this year, I'll be at 14. So I've lost 3.5% of my earning income since I've been here, just for a notation. You implement that kind of pay system also, you have compression issues, which we've resolved with the police department here since I've been here. But we do an informal pay study, just to let you know, with the chiefs every year. The chief of Greenland puts it together. It's voluntary. They respond. I do have 2 chiefs pay who are local, Goffstown. Now, this was in 2021. At that time, I had 25 years experience, and I'll be happy to share my resume with anybody. That chief had 15 years experience, was making $110,000 when I was at 98. Hooksett, chief with 15 years experience, was making $115,000. The captain in Goffstown was making what I was making at that time. So, not that I'm looking for a substantial increase or a contract or anything like that. I'm just pointing out there are a lot of issues when you go down the merit pay system. I'm not opposed to merit pay, but when you're talking about deliberately withholding one employee's pay for the benefit of other employees, that eliminates part of the town philosophy which brought me to this town of treating all employees fairly. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I think that was some misinterpretation
Yeah.
of what my thought process was.
Okay, I was just going off of quotes.
And that's fine, but I think it's misinterpretation.
Ricky, I can comment to this.
Yeah.
Chief, people are getting way ahead of where we are with this. And
Yeah.
they're taking just a piece, a word, a statement,
Right.
and they're running with it in a direction that is not our intent at all. We have created an evaluation system. We're going to actually perform an evaluation with you on the 13th.
Sure.
Which is the first evaluation you've had since you were here.
Well,
I mean,
I did have an oral one.
well.
Forgot about
Well,
that one.
this is
Right.
this is a formal evaluation. It'll be documented. There'll be minutes. It'll be part of a process that we're going to
Sure.
proceed with in the future. As they're all steps for us to put a system in that is consistent and treats everyone fairly. We currently don't have that system. So I think everybody just has to take a deep breath and step back. We are going to have a conversation on the 13th. that's what it's gonna amount to when we sit down with you?
Sure.
And we can discuss your personal position at that time in detail.
No, that
Do
sounds
not-
good. Yeah,
You're not lumped into this statement of merit-based, okay?
Okay.
Which everybody seems to want to
Right.
run with.
Right.
Again, I'm okay with merit-based as long as the procedure probably needs to be reviewed by a HR specialist and it
do,
needs to
yeah.
make sure there's no bias.
Oh, this is in very, very infancy, very infancy. We
Okay.
haven't started, and I may have said a couple things just with verbal diarrhea that I didn't mean.
Okay.
You know, again, we're just getting conversation started. It's not, nothing's in stone yet, nothing is,
We're a year away from this,
all of
to
that.
be quite honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
No problem.
yeah,
Don't,
yeah, don't take it to heart. Whatever we've said so
Oh, I
far.
take stuff to heart.
yeah. Well, I think people are just a little bit on edge about, we're not gonna run with this too fast.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's right when we do it too.
Appreciate that.
But again, we also feel that potentially, maybe the 5% across the board regardless is not proper to do anymore. That's all we're saying.
Okay.
You know, or 3% or wherever we choose that year. So,
We're taking a hard look at it.
We're taking a look at
We'll talk
it.
to you on the 13th.
Appreciate it. Thank you very
So-
much.
very good.
So Rick, before you leave department head, Jason's here. East Shore Drive, Jason, if you don't mind. East Shore Drive, 80 East Shore Drive keeps calling, and evidently there's a couple of pine trees that have some possible potential of, they're in our right of way. And they're having somebody at their site, 80 East Shore Drive, remove a bunch of pine trees. They would take the 2 pine trees that were in question out, but it would cost us $3,000. I know you've looked at it, I haven't looked at it, how do you want Jason to handle that? Jason did go out and look.
Just gonna pause. What do you got, chief?
Trees, would be $1 million.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear that, John?
Yeah,
So you got that, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so
East Shore, isn't that
It
pri-
is, but
It
we,
is,
if you
we
remember,
have-
Is it private or is it class
we-
6?
It's class 6.
Okay.
We own the 10-foot right-of-ways.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, this one pine tree is in that 10-foot right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
And the gentleman that new owner doing some renovations at 80 is looking to, while he's having someone there take down his trees, said he could take down these 2, but it would be $3,000 for us to take down 2 pine trees. So I haven't been there, you've seen it, I'm just asking, what do you want us to do?
yeah,
What should we
so
do as a
My,
board?
my thing is class 6 road, we don't maintain, period, 0. End of
No,
discussion.
but what if the pine tree tips over on someone's house? And we've already been told that it's got a problem.
It's a class 6 road. We cannot expend funds on it. I don't think you
It's
can,
not on the road, it's in the right-of-way that we
Right
own.
away that goes from the road to the lake.
The right-of-way that goes, the 10-foot that goes from East Shore Drive to the water,
so it's actually not the road, it's town property.
correct?
when it comes to, we can cut trees down, but those are,
Those are
The
high.
houses are too close together,
yeah.
you're talking
the-
a crane.
The houses, yeah, they already have a crane coming in there to take
that's
the
right.
trees down away from their windows that they're putting in their brand new camp, so.
The thought was, is it $3,000 feasible, or do we rent a crane and a company and do it
Our
ourselves?
own, yeah, I don't know.
My
Do I get
opinion
an
is they
insurance
already got a
certificate
crane
from
down
them?
there, they're already paying $10,000 to get a crane sent down there. I don't know money-wise where it would come from, or even legally how that even
What,
works, but.
Let me ask this, what's the feasibility, and I think that the $3,000 tab is for them to cut it and take it away, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
What's the practicality of us taking it away instead of them chipping it up and everything like that? I don't know, I'm just asking.
they can't drop it,
No, I know that.
so they're gonna have
They
to
have to
top it with a crane, leave it there, and there's just,
Okay.
there is
Probably no room
absolutely,
with winter.
there's zero room down there.
Do you know do you know who's doing the actual tree removal?
I do not know.
Yeah, I don't know who it is either, because I don't think they've got him there yet. He's just asking, is it something we're going to take care of, because he's renovating? It's our right,
So
it's
these are
our
obviously,
land.
these are 100-foot pine trees.
Plus, yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't hear the whole entire conversation. Do we have verification that the trees are actually bad? Or are we going based off of an email we received?
It's not an email, it was a phone call.
I went,
Jason's been down the road, cause.
I went and looked at them. It didn't look like there was a bunch of bark peeling off the trees, but, I mean, the middle of the tree could be rotted, I don't really know.
Right, but again, too, is the crane's already set up on their dime. We're just paying to get rid of the actual 2 trees.
Yeah.
3.5, 4 feet around trees.
Yeah, they're pretty stout.
Okay.
The only thing if you go that route, I had explained that I would ask you, but I also want an insurance certificate,
Absolutely.
you know, from whoever's
Well,
taking them
to
down.
me, it's no different. They're working on our property, so we need, like you said, the liability, stuff like that.
Right.
I just don't know what trees cost to take away, so.
I think that's
Well,
about right.
yeah.
I had a quote to take a tree down, and it was 2
1,500 a
grand,
tree, it's,
and that was no
You
crane.
get a crane involved and you're
Yeah,
looking at thousands and thousands of dollars just to get a crane there,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
I had one up in the Quaker Cemetery, I had a guy look at, $3 grand.
Yeah.
That big around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. What's the board want to do?
Well, you do have money in your tree line, right?
Taking out the saw line and everything else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my fear would be that they don't take them down, they alter everything else around it, and then they die.
So why do they
Well,
want
the
them
wind
down?
can get out
So
of 'em
they
worse.
want
Right.
them down, obviously.
yeah, and I looked at them very, very fast. It wasn't a very detailed scan, but.
How soon do we have to make this decision?
I don't know, I mean,
I mean, are they doing it
I don't know how quick
soon?
they're gonna have a tree service there.
yeah, I don't know how, there's gotta be an issue with, parking and everything else with the snow and, I
Yeah.
don't know how quick anybody's.
And the thing is, if the snowbanks are there, you're not gonna get a 12-foot crane down there with its outriggers out anytime soon.
Oh, you
So,
blocked the whole road.
well, yeah.
I mean, do you wanna leave it up to Jason to go look at it and make that determination, or?
Yeah, can you email us a couple pics, maybe?
Yeah, I can go
Go,
take a
go down
closer
there,
look.
take some pics, get a better timeline, a little bit more information, maybe who's doing it.
Yeah.
It's 80? It's 80?
80, yeah.
80 East Shore Drive.
80, you sure? Okay.
I mean, if
Is
they,
there anyone on Conservation Commission that is an arborist or can recommend an arborist that could come out and just verify that they're actually bad and it's not just a concern by a resident and the tree's actually still a viable tree?
yeah, I think, John, I think we can go make an assessment and find out it's a viable tree. If I had to guess, I mean, they're removing the trees for the reason of, they're
Aesthetics.
opening it up, they want
Yeah.
light in there like people do.
Yeah.
They want sun, they don't want room full of pine needles, they
It
don't
does,
want
it
branches
looks more
falling.
of a new build than a renovation to me, but,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think I know which one it is.
yeah, there's a couple trees that are right in front of windows that are viewing over to the lake, so they want them taken down.
Oh, nice, okay.
Yeah, so we'll get a better assessment, I'll take a drive-by so
Okay.
I'll give you guys, but I mean, if they wanna, if we decide that we think we don't need the trees or want the trees and they wanna pay to take them down and we give them the right to take them down, that might be a different story, but if they're healthy trees that are standing there that don't pose a hazard, I'm not willing to make the investment because it beautifies their piece of property.
Ditto, absolutely.
Yeah, my idea was if they wanted them taken down, they have the crane there, they can pay to get them taken down. If they're not,
But we have to give them
hazard.
permission, there are.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right,
yeah,
yeah.
If they don't pose a risk.
if they don't, if
Right,
they're
well,
not
I mean,
hazard,
if they want them down that bad, we could probably give them the permission and just give us a liability insurance and, but again, I mean, if there's gonna be fiscal commitment by the town, I would 100% agree with Kevin,
yeah,
Alright, so you guys are gonna go look at it and we'll discuss it
yeah, yeah,
further?
yeah, between the,
I'll take a drive-by tomorrow, I'll let you know what I think.
okay,
yeah, I'll go check it out tomorrow. I'll be
Okay.
Yeah.
looking at other
Alright.
stuff.
I'll text you about the time, if you're available, we'll meet there.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
cool,
Thank you.
thank you, Jason. Alright, any other department head stuff we can think of? No?
No.
No,
Okay. Alright, so we'll review and approve the 2023 town ballot?
yeah, I gave you guys all a hard copy.
Yep.
The only correction, Maureen and I went over, you now have, the first page has the list of people,
Running.
candidates.
Yep.
Looks like this.
Yeah, I got it.
And then all I did was take the rest of the ballot and add it to the pages. Now, on your ballot, your tax impact comes off,
Mm-hmm.
and the yes, no's go on.
Right.
So everything remains the same except for Article 20.
Right.
Article 20 had to do with the Board of Fire Wards.
Yep.
Now, Maureen and I both looked at it, and another set of eyes looked at it, so we believe it's ready to go to print. Unless someone else has a question.
Board members have any questions?
No, I read it. We got this in an email today, and I went down through it. I mean, there's nothing that jumped out. I mean,
No.
it didn't seem any different than,
No, like I said, other than the first page we just got, which is all the,
Yep, you had to wait for Friday for
all
that to
the
happen.
elected positions. So,
I think it looks good as emailed today.
yeah,
Okay.
I would agree. And then we, all the narrative write-up is here,
We can do that next.
okay, as far as
So the
what?
ballot's all set with you guys?
Yep.
yes.
She needs to get it off, to get it proof, to get it, okay. So the narrative is for the mailer. Typically, what we've done is whatever article you took, and then collectively you write what your information's gonna be to go in the mailer.
Yep.
And then you guys talk about it if you wanna add, subtract, or whatever you wanna do with it, and it's consensus. So we can get the mailer out. My goal would be to get the mailer out at least a week and a half ahead of time this year.
Yep, that's fine.
So, just in regards to what I spoke to, 18 and 19 is the only place I have a question. I asked Naomi for clarification.
Oh, the veterans tax?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason being is we were advised prior to the deliberative session that both articles had to pass, otherwise we would return to the $50 tax credit. Laura Spector, town council, made a statement that that is not the case, that they stand alone, as I understood what she said.
Right, well, or it reverts back to the $50.
Right. So you have 160, no, I don't know why I do that. I always want to do that.
Three,
You have 323 residents that are affected by Article 18. And you have 14 that are affected by Article 19. Now, Article 19 was just approved a year ago.
Right, which I think, honestly,
It's the all veterans credit.
right, which honestly, I think, yeah,
then I have the numbers reversed in how I wrote this. Because, again, what was given to me in my work session handbook is that 18 was referring to the active duty, eligibility for active duty. Am I reading that correctly? Eligibility for annual resident, yeah, currently serving is how I wrote it and stated it that day. So, if, I just, for the voter's sake, I want that clarified, but what you'd have to do basically is just reverse the numbers, okay? You know what I mean, flip-flop 19 and 18.
Are you so sure it's not right?
Well, the reason that I say that is because what I was given,
Because both questions pretty much say the same thing. It's Chief Moore.
so again, it's under 18, what's highlighted is eligibility credits for individuals who have not yet been discharged, where 19 is what was, for honorably discharged people that
He's
serve
right.
90 days or less, or more.
right,
18, 19 need to be switched.
Flip-flop,
Yep,
yeah.
yeah.
yep.
And the reason I had them written that way until I dug into this and as presented and highlighted here, John. and noted as 18 is that statement
Yeah.
for the current. So that correction will need to be made
All right.
prior to it going.
That's not the end of the world.
Well, no, it's just cut and paste, flip
Right.
that around.
I
But
still,
But,
I'm not
yeah, but there's
following
still-
the path here.
there's still some confusion, that's,
Because it says, if adopted, the credit will apply to every resident who's a veteran and served not less than 30 days in the armed forces of the United States in a qualifying war or armed and continues to serve or was honorably discharged an officer. And the other one also says, or continues to serve.
Right.
So what's the
What I
difference?
understood from this, it says, this article is required because the legislature expanded the ability criteria for this credit to include individuals who have not yet been discharged from service in the armed forces. Both of
that's
them said
18,
this,
that's 18.
right, and 19 says the same thing underneath. The
Okay.
note says the same thing.
Okay.
I'm
So-
just trying to
so
wrap,
then So then it's just, they're identical then?
They're pretty much identical, yeah, I just, it's, one is obviously local and one is the state. That's really the only difference.
well, no, the optional one we adopted many,
Well,
many
that's what I'm
years
saying, yeah.
ago. And that had certain conflicts.
Right.
And then
And then,
last
yeah.
year, we adopted the all veterans that took out the specific
The specific
conflicts, because there
conflicts.
was a lot of people that still served,
Correct.
but not in the selected conflicts that they had done years
Right.
ago.
But
And there's still people today that are on active, whether they've also served in one of the conflicts listed, or if they're still serving just today.
right, but of course, one of these is, like you said, is for the state, we adopt, and then the other one is to retain the value, the amount.
But they're still both controlled by RSA 772.
Correct.
One's
7228 and
7228.
one's B.
Yeah, one's number 2 and one's B.
Right.
It's trying to decipher what the difference is between 28 and 28B, which they seem to be identical.
They do. Except for B is called the all veterans, and the optional one is certain conflicts.
Mhm.
But they both added the option of including active service members.
Right.
We want to work together on this?
Yeah, I
We're
just,
gonna get it right, but it's also, it's very hard to word, and we definitely need to clarify, do both need to pass?
yeah, we were told both had to pass, and she made a statement Saturday that it didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
You might just want to contact DRA again, just to make sure,
that's,
'cause they would know.
you know,
Right, well, that was, yeah,
Yeah,
but I thought it was DRA that said that.
Well, I was
Both had to
thinking,
pass.
why wouldn't they both pass?
No, I'm not saying, exactly,
You
but
got-
I
you
thought
got
DRA was the one that
323
said,
people or 14,
right,
you know, they're all still the same.
right.
yeah, it's the same thing that I brought up from the very get-go on this article, why it was confusing to me, because of the similarities, it almost appears that is it 500 or is it $1,000?
No, you can only go to
Yeah, you
7.
can't compound them, but right, you're right, it does on its face, what does it look like? It looks like it
Now, when you
potentially could
apply, you
be,
have to apply for one or the other.
right,
You can't get both.
Right,
right,
but,
But a husband and wife can each apply.
right,
they
but
serve.
the
Yeah, they
idea,
both serve, right.
again, if the voter is looking at it and the voter votes yes the first time, are they gonna vote yes the second time?
No,
And if we need both of them to vote yes, because that's the intention of it,
Correct.
to recognize the people that have served the
yeah, no, I
country.
can reach out to DRA.
Yeah, if you
we
could.
got-
And-
Yeah, we got a couple of things we gotta clear up on this,
Okay.
especially with her contradiction of what we
Yeah.
thought.
right, okay.
That was the only thing I had. I didn't,
So Rick, you had already done yours anyway,
Yep,
and you read it verbatim.
yeah.
pretty much,
John had put together his, both John V came by email.
yep.
I don't know if anybody has read those.
I mean, I think pretty much John's is verbatim too,
From what he read?
yeah,
Okay.
I think there was some conversation was added, but for 15 anyways, as far as what it would be used for.
Do you wanna add anything more to 7, which is the non-union raises? I brought the last 2 reports, or the last 2 mailers.
Yeah, I have mine too, if I need them. They're buried somewhere in there. Actually, no, that one's on the kitchen counter.
Yes. Do you have this, Ricky?
The 2022 I don't have, and I gave that back, that book. So, I mean, I probably could use a little doctoring.
Probably.
Well, in 2020, we wrote, as in years past, this article represents a raise for the non-union employees of the town. The amount represents this said 3% raise for all employees not represented by the collective bargaining unit. That was 2020. 2021 said, as in previous years, this article represents a raise for non-union and library personnel. Amount presented represents a 3% for all not presented in the collecting unit. In 2020, the town office staggered the staff so they're able to increase the hours that they serve the public to 50 hours with no overtime and no extra cost to the taxpayers. There's 98 employees included in the warrant article. Out of the 59,930, 70% go to first responders, and I think you guys were given that number.
We were, yeah.
It was broken down as to how that was.
Yeah, it was broken down to
distributed.
who got what.
So
Yeah.
we did it differently for 2 years in a row.
Right. I kinda like the short, I don't wanna say the short and sweet one, but,
Because it says the amount increases 58 full-time and permanent part-time. 39% is public works, 34% are first responders, and the remaining 27% are the other staff. I mean, she's got them listed here, but
right.
is that something you want to do or not want to do?
I don't think
You've
it's gonna
got,
hurt anything.
you've got room in the mailer, and the reason I say that, because John Stark has 1 article and Weare School District has 2.
Yeah, I think we should probably
Expand?
put all the information in there we can.
At the minimum, we definitely should have the 58 full-time and permanent
Yeah.
employees. I mean, they should know the number of people we're talking about here,
Right.
because this is a significant amount of money. The percentages, sure. I mean, it just gives them a better perspective on,
More information
yeah, well, just how
for anybody that didn't attend the
our
deliberative session.
payroll is broken up.
Right.
Okay.
Article 11,
Alright, so we can do that for 7. 11 talks about purchasing, the DPW, the new truck, with arrival 12 to 18 months from now.
Yep.
Just looking at what we wrote before.
I think we wrote in there what it replaced, like a 2008.
What we did in
5.
2021 was, it says the purpose of the article is to continue the upgrading of the DPW fleet by replacing older aging trucks that are costing the taxpayers expensive repairs. In 2020, $82,928 was spent in vehicle maintenance / repairs, which does not include labor, tires, or oil or grease. The vehicle being replaced is a 2004 with over 130,000 miles on it.
yeah, well, a couple of things. Just as Ricky has noted and other people have noted, we shouldn't put that explanation point on the 0 impact to the taxpayer. And this is replacing a 2005 six-wheeler. I mean, that vehicle is beyond its lifespan, so that would resonate with anyone. Not most people own a vehicle that's,
Right.
what now, 18 years old, and is being used as a workhorse?
Front
So-
line.
What's that?
Front line.
Yeah,
So
might need to doctor this up a little bit. With what it's replacing. And we're just not adding to. Are you good with that, Naomi?
I'm fine with that.
okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have to talk about, the funds? Did you wanna talk about the funds of where we got it? It was additional highway block grant money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not hurt, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I think that would be
I think
important.
that'd be good, yeah.
Yeah, as Tom had pointed out in the deliberative session, it was a bonus,
The extra highway block grant
yeah.
from
And
the second session.
and it's not ending, and we're using
Okay.
it to give back to the taxpayers, right?
Yep. And then 13 was road reconstruction. Talked about,
That was the
That was
road
pretty-
reconstruction.
yeah, so road reconstruction said, this warrant article's on the ballot every year. It provides funding for primary responsibility of the highway department, which is to repair, rebuild and maintain the roads to ensure safe travel for residents and visitors. Road improvements and upgrades lead to less maintenance in the future. Roads are the largest infrastructure asset the town owns. Without proper maintenance, costs are extremely expensive, could result in unsafe roads for travel.
I think something should be said about the reason why it's a little bit less this year. With everything going up, why is that one less? I think it should just somehow incorporate the fact that
The current
the
balance,
current balance.
okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
You wanna add the other information if you can?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just plays right into what John is saying. Anyway, it's just a more, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a more bulleted.
Well, I mean, they've seen 500, 525, 575 right up through, now it's rolled back. Nothing has gone down, why is it rolled back?
Last year was 525,
Right, but we've rolled it back.
right, but the request was 640.
Right, no, I realize that, but we rolled it back in a time that everything's going up, why? So that, to me, that
Because
would
there
be,
was money left over from prior years
Right.
that they've already paid taxes on.
Yes.
that's what I mean, it's just, to me, it's, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
gonna raise, it would raise question.
Okay,
Yeah, this is like a please note that the
Please note that
reason for
there's-
the reduction is because of surplus money from
yeah,
previous year.
okay.
Right, well, unspent money from
Yeah,
previous
something.
year.
Yeah,
Can we go back to the truck real quick for a second?
sure, John.
You guys were talking about the explanation of where the money's coming from. I think it's a great idea, but I'm wondering if we ought to, and maybe I didn't hear it, include the restrictions on what we can spend that money on. We can't use it to offset taxes or anything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a quick little one sentence that this, I don't know.
This
Yeah, no, yeah, John, no, you're on it. So what we would say that this
second
money
contribution or
came
whatever.
from a second block grant.
Designated
that's
for
that's
ABC.
specific to da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
and could not be used to reduce taxes. That was one of the comments that was brought up during deliberative session. I think it's prudent enough that we ought to include it in our blurb too.
Which is what you read
In a
from
very abbreviated
Yeah.
format.
yeah,
Yeah.
the,
Which its intent was not to reduce taxes or something to that
Right.
effect.
to be
I don't
used,
know if intent would be the right word, but it's, I mean. the
It can't be
intent-
used, yeah.
Yeah, but it's restricted, we're not allowed to.
read off the actual intention of the second block grant. Maybe not what the intention is not, but what the intention of it was.
Yes.
Yep.
Right from that bulletin that you read from.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, good
And,
point, John.
NHMA made a nice little, one sentence thing of what you can use it for, so we just put that on there.
Okay, so those are John's. Rick, you guys are all set with Rick's, he read them Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, so then we move on to John Vans. You good with his?
Probably maybe Article 10 could use a little bit more
Article 10.
for the PD cruiser. There's nothing about the ARPA funds in there. Because I think it was brought up, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, it was more than 5 minutes ago, but the reason why we didn't use the whole, we didn't offset the whole thing with ARPA. So, maybe it might be a good opportunity to put in there, that what the ARPA funds have been slated for.
The only reason I didn't put anything in there is because Naomi asked for one paragraph, and I'm afraid that trying to explain that would take up I don't know how to explain it in such a limited fashion, on a mailer.
All right,
That's my own.
and that's fine, but probably I'll at least put in there, Well, no, because I guess it's right in the article that
Yeah, it
it's.
is. It's spelled out really well in the article. To try to make mention of it in some way.
If you guys can think of a short way to word it properly, I'm all for it. I just couldn't think of anything that would, that could be abbreviated enough that would still fit within a paragraph or even two.
All right, well, all right, so maybe if we don't do that, maybe what we do is we do add a little bit to it, though. You put, the police department's authorized 7 patrol vehicles, however, there's only 6 at this time. I'm just thinking maybe we would just put something kind of like the aging fleet in there somewhere. This is called sporadic fleet availability due to
Yeah, I'm
call
okay with that.
volume. Next one. Unplanned, aging vehicle repairs.
Where are you gonna put that?
We're talking now, the cars are already 5 and 6 years old.
Right, his methodology was a 6-year plan, if you remember.
Right. And we're gonna go over that, I mean, we're not gonna meet that, so.
And if I remember, that Explorer is,
Oh, the Explorer,
13,
that's a 13. I'm thinking that the Chargers, the front lines,
those are 17s.
those 17s,
gonna be
one
6
18,
years.
and
You had 3 17s and an 18,
an 18, and then the Tahoe,
and a 20 for the Tahoe.
yeah, so. Okay,
So,
I mean, I'm just thinking, I don't know.
so John, at this time, it is expected that this replacement cruiser will be a Chevy Tahoe? Is that the case?
That's what he's
That was
proposing.
my discussion with the chief, and I believe he even mentioned it at the deliberative session.
Yeah,
that,
he's mentioned it
his plan was
deliberative.
to Convert the fleet over to Tahoes for consistency.
And ground clearance and other benefits. I mean, we can leave it. I'm not opposed to leaving it. I just didn't know if we should inject some more or not.
I'm okay with, if you feel that it needs more, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can leave it. It's not at the end of the world. What's the rest of the board feel?
Yeah,
Explains what it's doing.
I think, John, you explained it real well, what the need is, and I guess the only,
It's concise.
yeah, it just is, can we drive home that 30,000 ARPA money somehow without,
Really
Yeah.
muddying the water.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I hope people do recognize that it isn't a total ask, right?
I think we can probably just leave it, I
mean,
guess.
if we want to mention it, that the board is to help reduce the tax burden, we're using 30,000 out of ARPA, intended for, I wouldn't even put that.
No. I think we just leave it.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we just leave it.
Tennis courts.
I think that's pretty much, 14 sums it up, I think. I think 15 sums it up very well.
On the tennis court one, on 14, there was discussion that this $20,000 is to kind of survey.
Yeah,
And then there's been discussion as well as the new library expansion that's coming, how that's all gonna play together.
right.
But I think we need, I guess people, is it for the study specifically with?
I don't think anything's actually been confirmed yet. I think they're just, if Park can get the fund, or I'm sorry, the fund going, then they'll be, like, I don't want to say more serious about it, but they're going to put a lot more effort into it. Right now, they don't want to invest a whole bunch of time into something that if the voters don't approve, which sadly, a lot of the park warrant articles over the past 10 years that I've been paying attention don't pass. They don't want to invest a bunch of time and
Effort.
sweat equity into this if it's not going to happen.
Right. Right. No, he's right. But I mean, you also need, you're also gonna need money to go after these grants, potentially. I mean, not a large contribution, but probably some small monetary time.
Even in kind or 100 or even 100% grant would be huge, but and then Park's going to need clarification going forward as to are they allowed to fundraise, or what is the proper way for Park to do a fundraiser?
Right.
And does that? I think that's going to be a discussion for it's going to be for the next board and the next ex officio, how to set that up, because that's something they want to do, and I think it's something that would be very beneficial. There's a lot of chatter out there on Facebook that how do we donate, and to my knowledge, there's no mechanism for that. So
Yeah, and the thing is, if it's a donation to the town through Park, it would go to the general fund.
correct.
So, and then it get lost in the black hole.
Yeah. So
So.
hopefully the next board, the next ex officio, can run with that and
Guide it along.
try to get some better traction with that.
Okay.
That would be my hope.
Yeah, John, and Naomi, back to the $20,000 and the conversation that happened at deliberative session. I think that was primarily driven by the finance committee with an assumption that that money would be being used to find out feasibility as much as anything for the current location, or is the current location not going to work with the library expansion and existing parking, and with what was suggested requirement for ADA access. So I think that was all more or less just a broader conversation about the topic in general. So I don't think it needs to be included personally.
There was nothing, it was a very non-committal discussion.
Yes, exactly. So I'm satisfied with how it's written.
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't answer, what are we doing with the $20,000 other than putting it in an account?
Well, I think it says it's to get to that 180, to start to get to that 180. But again, you still,
But when Denise was up here requesting it, she said, we'd like to have 20,000 this year to survey the site.
so then if that's,
So I
if
think
that's the intention, we
intention is to
we
survey the
probably need
site
to write it
see
in there.
If it is viable to keep it there.
Right, because of the requirements of the ADA and everything
Yes,
else.
Right.
Yes.
That, I think they need to check before we spend $180,000, that they can do what they want to do in place with the ADA accessible requirements.
If putting that blurb in there, if that's what we want to do, that's fine. My concern, and it's probably, it's not even a big one, is that tying Park's hands or the town's hands for the purpose of that funding.
Yeah. Can I interject something here? So, John, if you get 2/3 of the way through your paragraph and it is expected that the replacement cost, possibly that sentence could begin with the $20,000 being requested would be step one, somehow or another, as it has been stated, that this will not be the last ask, right? This is going to be part of the raising of this $180,000. So how do we,
So I'll just read, so maybe if we take it and go from, with the increasing popularity of pickleball, the courts are seeing more and more use. Let's reverse these sentences. Park will be seeking additional funding from various grants and possibly some fundraising in coming years. It is expected that this $20,000 will be used for XYZ, and the expected replacement of the tennis courts will cost in excess of $180,000.
yeah,
This is the first step in that
yeah,
process.
why don't we, and why don't we put the estimated costs?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Naomi?
Yeah, that seems a little better explanation.
That makes sense, John?
It does, and talking it out, I wonder, do we want to try, and unfortunately, I don't have the verbiage for it, but, remember the warrant articles that we did years ago for the bridge fund? Where we got X amount of dollars per year, expecting it over a certain length of time. We don't know what the length of time is gonna be for this one, but do we want to have similar language for that, maybe? You know what I mean, Rick?
Yeah, no, I'm pulling my mailers out from 2018 to see what that number was, how it was written.
It was the first of.
This article will add 105,000 to the previously established capital reserve. That was too late. 75, 107, 185, 111, 480. When did we start? Oh, right there. This article will establish a bridge reconstruction capital reserve fund and add 105,000 to that fund. The state will pay 80% of the cost to replace bridges, with the town paying the remaining 20%. The intent of this is establishing this fund is to save for the town's share of the cost to replace 3 bridges, the major one being River Road Bridge on the north end of River Road, the other 2 Low Road and Old Francistown, which are much smaller projects. By establishing this fund, the town's share of the costs will be available when state funds are available, thus avoiding delays in long-term debt. So it really doesn't.
I'm not sure there's a way we can incorporate that.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
kind of
like I
an
said, that
apple
was.
and a banana.
Yeah, that is like an apple and banana. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So.
worth a shot. I just wanted to see.
Yeah,
Yeah. So. Okay.
Are you getting anywhere, Naomi? As far as something that,
Other than circles.
no, I think there's enough there by changing the sentence around.
Yeah. I think we're just, John. I think we're just gonna change those last 2 sentences around a little bit.
I'm okay
Just
with
kind of invert them, and then at the end of it, this is the first step in that process.
that. First step of a multi-step process. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
how many it's gonna be because we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
okay.
Okay. All right. Anything for 15?
No,
I think that's pretty well written.
Yep.
I think.
$20?
I was gonna, the only thing I would add to that, John, may potentially, is at the end of it, you said, on January 30th, the Board of Fire Wards met and decided to ask the voters by a vote of 4-1 to disband the board and revert control back to the select board in compliance with RSA 154. I think we just leave it there.
Yeah, I think this one, I didn't want to really put a lot into that because the Board of Selectmen was not the one who championed this article.
Right. Just, yeah, but I just, obviously there's a RSA that goes along with it. I just think maybe we quote it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
The rest of the board all right with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like, look at this as if
Yeah,
I'm
you're a
the co-
voter.
I'm the cold voter walking in.
Yep.
And I just got done voting for members of the fire ward, and now I'm voting on whether or not I want to disband it.
Right.
Is it worth finding out how many is left?
Oh, how many boards are left in the state?
Wait, there's only 2.
I think there's only 2. We're one of them.
Yeah, there are only 2, that's what's been stated. Well, I don't know that for a
Well,
fact.
that's what I'm
but-
saying.
Right.
I know
The
that,
presentation
and
of the-
Guilford's always been a comparison, because Guilford is the one that does, you can't be on the department
And be on the board.
and be on the board. They're totally,
Yeah, I think
Separate.
that might muddy the waters a little bit. I think.
well, you talk about, it was created in 1978.
Yeah, but the board has voted.
Yeah,
The makeup was explained in in the article in 78. but
Right.
it- You know. I'm just thinking as, part of his discussion Saturday was to bring it full circle, just like DPW, police, and everybody else.
yeah.
Well,
And
that's
make-
why,
And bring the control back in one area,
that's kind of why I
so
said,
it's townwide.
yeah. all right, well, how about this, to disband the board and revert control back to the Board of Selectmen to streamline,
Administrative,
responsibilities?
Well, you guys are you would now be financially responsible where
Yeah.
you're not now.
Right, we'd also be administratively
And then
too.
administrative and financially.
Right,
right.
yeah, so. Does that sound all right, John?
Yeah, this would make, this action will make the Board of Selectmen financially and administratively responsible for the fire department as they are currently with police and DPW. How's that?
That,
I don't know, for me, I think less is more on this one.
okay,
Okay,
But, I mean, this is the board putting this together. If the board feels that it ought to be more descriptive, then we'll go with it.
well, maybe what we do is we insert and change a little bit rather than adding, because it says revert control back to the Board of Selectmen. Well, it's been 40 years since it's been to the Select
Yeah.
Board. So, I mean, nobody on this board has seen it in the hands of the Select Board. So maybe instead of saying revert control back to, maybe we put disband the board and,
Change control.
yeah.
Well, I just
board
wrote,
control.
yeah,
I wrote to disband the board and to streamline the financial and administrative duties back to the Board of Selectmen to be consistent with other departments.
I like that.
yeah,
There
that,
you
John.
That rings.
Yeah, John, she's gonna read that again to you. I think what we're struggling with here is how much the other information we know about how this decision was made, and
Trying to convey it.
then, we're sort of, like I said, I'm trying to take my hat off and as a select board member and look at this just as a voter, and it is confusing to me. So let Naomi read back what she just presented to us, and try to think of this as you're the voter making a decision, not the guy that sort of knows
Is in the know.
yeah, okay?
So, the first sentence I left alone, and the last sentence I wrote, on January 30th, 2023, the Board of Fire Wards met and decided to ask the voters by a vote of 4 yes, 1 no, to disband the board and to streamline the financial and administrative duties back to the Board of Selectmen to be consistent with other departments.
I'm okay with that language.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
I
good.
like it too.
I do too.
Yeah, and again, the reasoning behind this is a warrant article that was brought to us. There's no recommendation by the Board of Selectmen. I don't want it to be worded in such a way that we're the ones bringing this to the town. We're
Yeah.
not the one asking for it, they're asking for it.
Absolutely, yep.
As long as the language is consistent with that idea, then yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right, Kevin, we didn't look, we just have to
Yeah.
talk to DRA on 18 and 19.
Right.
17 is the Forester one?
Yeah. 16 and 17 are very straightforward.
Yeah.
But, how about 6? Are you okay with 6? Because 6 is really the only other one with real meat in it.
Yeah, I like 6, and it gives also the estimated tax impact.
So, let's add, though, the annual cost, because that's not on the vote.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Okay?
So the annual
The 60,
cost was 67,205.
While 16 is, are we all set with 6?
I'm all, just by adding the
Okay.
annual cost.
While 16 is very direct, I'm thinking maybe we go, this article appears on the ballot every year and is intended for the maintenance of our town cemeteries. It
I
just,
think we've just repeated what we've always put.
that's kind of what we've done, yeah, we've always just kind of repeated every year what we put in the mailer.
sure.
Just, it's very direct,
It says these funds are used to make improvements and repairs to the town cemeteries. Some of the repairs are damage to stone walls, fencing, and boundary markers. This warrant article is required to allow a withdrawal from the Cypre account for the cemetery trustees to utilize. If the money's not used in 2021, it'll be returned to the account.
well, we could take cemetery trustees off of that. And just leave it with
Yeah.
any money will be returned to the account type thing.
Sure.
Same with 17, the Forester. That one's every year.
Forester, we did as in years prior, this is a reoccurring article, to allow the Conservation Commission to manage town forests by contracting a licensed forester to render professional services by writing reports on current status and inventory in the town forest.
There you go.
Sure. If I had that, I
Should've, should've looked back at the mailer, Kevin.
Yeah, you know where that mailer is, that's in the recycling bin. I don't have that mailer, I should have called you.
He's got them all since he's been on the board.
No, there was a year or two I
And then 18,
Did the same
19, I'll
thing.
check with DRA to
Okay.
make sure that
Yeah,
we're,
I think
because
that's
we did two
appropriate.
different.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. So,
I actually remember when I was reading the mailer last year, I didn't know if I was gonna win. It was a long
you didn't
shot.
save it, did you?
No, I didn't.
No?
All
I'll
right,
learn
so
ya.
I think
Because I actually didn't know I had to write something.
I'll
because
learn
it's-
ya.
Because it's not in my.
in his manual.
So,
Okay, okay, that's
Okay.
done.
that goes, so it stays there. All right, that brings us to reviewing 706 Reservoir Drive.
Yeah, I added that to the minutes, agenda rather. So it was brought to my attention, from the code enforcement officer for my opinion because of my construction background of an oversight that he noted while there was a building permit pulled for a deck at 706 Reservoir Drive. And when he got into the file, he realized that on a recent renovation, there was a oversight in an inspection for new wiring done, actually a new entrance. And so, he brought to my attention as a concern. It is a concern. This happened back in 2020. It did involve a state electrical inspector and a couple other people. I've given you guys copies of the information he gave to me. I don't really know where to go with this. I am familiar with this property, so I should really recuse myself from any actions we take. But at the same time, I just would say maybe a courtesy inspection to see if possibly it wasn't an oversight, that it did get dealt with somewheres and it's just not documented. That's really all I have to offer.
Right. So I am gonna make a statement. I think that this has started off on the wrong foot, honestly, myself. I think that the code enforcement officer should come to us as a board, not an individual.
Okay.
Again, I can respect the work that was done, but I think this should have been handled by the board, or board designate you to work on this.
Yeah, I literally got a phone call, just to let you know.
Yep, no, I,
Are you at the house? I'm in your neighborhood. I want to drop something off.
yeah, I understand that.
That exists.
That's usually how it starts. I understand that. Yeah.
So do you wanna have that conversation with him?
I think we should have the conversation with the code enforcement officer, as a board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would agree, because it is kind of put me in an awkward spot.
Exactly.
And I
Yep.
did notify the town administrator immediately.
Yep,
when he
I understand
did-
that.
When he did arrive.
Yep.
And I shot you guys off an email.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
We can make a appointment to have him come in.
I think, yeah, just code enforcement officer, yeah, yep,
Okay.
Well, your
So-
code enforcement officer is your building inspector?
right,
Just checking.
so, okay.
Okay.
That brings us to the
And I
manifest.
gave you that, right?
I do have that, yeah, it's in my pile, yeah, I got it all filed out here.
Okay.
All right, order the treasurer to sign the payroll accounts payables checks dated February 9th, 2023, as including the following manifest. Payroll manifest is $67,795.35 for weekly payroll. Accounts payable of $160,523.29. John Stark, account payable of $250,000, and Weare School District of $400,000, for a total of $878,318.64. As there is no meeting scheduled for Monday, February 13th and February 20th, why?
February 20th is a holiday.
Oh, okay.
The building's closed for President's Day.
Oh, all right. Further, order treasurer to sign payroll checks dated February 16th and the 23rd, estimated to be about $160,000. And further, order the treasurer to sign up the amount of $180,000 for accounts payables and not wait until next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported by the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All,
Discussion?
oh, yep,
You made a comment that there's no meeting next Monday, but we have a meeting scheduled next Monday?
Well, I think that was, we are meeting for reviews, but we won't be on TV or anything.
nor will we be conducting town business other than
No,
the
it was
review.
just for the reviews.
Right,
Understood, thank you.
yep. All right, is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, I didn't put the the administrator's report on here, but I have handed you one,
Yeah, I was curious
fairly
about
lengthy.
why we jumped over that.
We'll go through it.
Where is my?
Right.
So, joint loss, I explained to you before, the joint loss, it's kinda on hold, we've lost members of the DPW transfer station as well as the fire chief position, so we don't have the proper amount of employee to department head ratio, so until
Right.
those positions are filled, we're gonna hold on that. Tonight, you got the radio communication update with Chief Moore. Contracts, I have to finish those two. Collins Cemetery, as you know, that's whenever we get time.
Right.
Asbestos testing, this is also, I think we have to think about in the spring what we're gonna do as far as what we're concerned with. Buzzell Hill came back positive for the asbestos for the shingles.
Yep.
So, we'll have to talk about maybe remediation in the spring. The Barden property is something that the conservation will take it from there and
Yep.
what they're going to do. The driveway bond policy, I have a one paragraph, which I wanna sit down and talk to Jason. I think we gotta do a little bit more than one paragraph.
Okay.
That was left prior. The River Road Bridge update, as you know, Jason has, lined up the lift, and I believe he's probably got the rest of the supplies ordered. Or ordering them, because all of a sudden it's gonna be March 1st, and that was the intention to get started. As you know, the rental hospitality's been tabled for now. Cemeteries, we have a few updates to do. The one major update I'd like to do is see us record the deeds, cause
Absolutely.
currently, right now, if you remember in your training, if the individual doesn't have a deed to be buried in the cemetery plot, you have to file for probate. So right now, we do have someone that filed for probate. So, I explained to them that we're not contesting it, we were just telling her how to follow the direction.
Right.
So we do need to get them recorded, because one of the questions asked during the structural conference over the phone with the judge was, how come we don't record them?
Right.
Nashua takes care of all the deeds to property, why wouldn't it take care of that as well?
Right. Absolutely. Okay.
The restructuring of the DPW, we need to talk about that. I took off the December date because we never made that date, so we do need to, figure out what we're going to do, look at job descriptions.
Yep.
There is so I got a couple of emails. I got an email on the 14th from, State Representative Keith Erf, advising that there's some additional gopher funds, for possible boat ramp repairs.
Okay.
The application's due on 6/1/23. They're on a first come, first served basis. There's up to $100,000 with 25% match. So I guess I'll have to see what all of that entails.
Yeah.
You know, it always is, I appreciated him reaching out. And
Oh,
it doesn't
absolutely.
do any harm to research it, just
No.
like the next one. I haven't been able to look up what additional ARPA monies. It said that the county is making $6 to $8.5 million available for community needs, consistent with its adopted plan. But you have to go to the RFP guidelines and the sample forms at the county website. So I
Right.
think probably there's some leftover money, but you'd have to follow their plan to get the money.
Right.
And again, that proposal's right around the corner.
Is it worth looking at, though?
I don't mind taking a read.
Yeah, just take a read of it and see what you think.
We also, it's sitting on here from before we get started with town meeting and stuff, is we really need to sit down and look at the solid waste ordinance.
Yep, I agree.
And that's gonna, I mean, I think sooner than later, I'd like to see us get that so that we can, you guys all have a copy.
Yep.
And I think we need to, do you wanna have a public hearing? Is that what we need to do?
Well, I think we need to have a work
Because you're
session.
gonna have callers that are gonna wanna get started.
Right, but I think we need to have a work session on it, because obviously we need to
can do
bring it
that
up
first.
from 30 years ago,
Right,
so.
right, and things have
I think
changed.
we could carve out 20 minutes to at least to get a rough start for, on next Monday. But the chief might take a half hour, right?
Probably, yeah.
Do you wanna carve out next Monday to get a start, is that what you're
Yeah, that's what I'm
asking?
saying, so at least maybe we can get marching orders or
Yeah,
research
good.
or something.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a bad idea.
Because if we say the chief's a half,
Yep,
we have Naomi do the same night, another half,
yep,
20 minutes for that, get us
Hour
out
and a
in
half.
an hour and a half.
yeah,
Fair enough?
that's fair enough.
Alright, so just to be fair, we were gonna meet upstairs,
Yep,
because Board of Fire wards are down here.
yep.
But if we're gonna have this discussion, we probably should be down here.
Yeah, but figure by the time we do the 2 reviews,
Okay,
we can probably move down here.
okay, no, I just wanna be able to.
Because we're gonna be here at 6:30, right?
That's what my assumption is, yes.
Yeah,
So by
6:30.
7:30, you'll be
7:30.
down here.
I'm sure that,
Fireworks will be gone.
yeah, we can just move down here. Take a short recess and come down the stairs.
Sure.
Solid waste.
Closer to the door.
So then, all right, we already talked about the 13th for reviews, no 20th meeting. I'm gonna drop down a little further to ask you, you can see that I'm off. The town hall renovations, Kevin had a site walk on Thursday. 3 people, contractors attended.
Okay,
Bids are due the 16th, which
Yep.
is Thursday.
okay.
The intent was to maybe be able to award it on Friday. I know I'm not don't like to meet on Fridays, but the 20th we're not meeting, and I'm leaving the 18th to go find snow and freeze in the North Woods. So, I'm just wondering if that pulls together. Is that a quick enough time, or do you want to
think we
meet
can do it.
after we get back?
You wanna do a Friday, or?
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
I have no problem with it.
Obviously.
I just was thinking time.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, times of this.
Did you get the sign-in list, excuse me?
I do.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's right
As long-
here.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure we
Yeah, it's
have
right
it.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
And in the future, we should,
Make a sign-in sheet? Okay.
yeah, then we'll, because,
I just was thinking that if you awarded it to someone,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could at least get the material started and kind of get things
Oh,
started.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
may still.
They can start on that
We
Monday.
may still be close to April 1st for our
Yeah.
anticipation date.
Hoping,
That gives
yeah.
them a month.
Yeah.
It may be the second week, but at
Yeah.
least if we could get it started. Okay.
Yeah.
It would just be, honestly, just to award the bid.
Yeah,
Because
20
you're already
minutes out
gonna
the
be
door.
here on the 13th, so just be on
Yeah.
Friday.
so Naomi, as part of the procedure in our manual, when we do the walkthrough, we should include that, the biggest reason is on bid day, if we don't have somebody, we know who we're reaching out to, or not from memory, who came
Okay.
the day of the
Yeah.
walkthrough. Because anyone that shows up for the walkthrough is more than likely, they've
Commits.
taken enough,
Submit a bid.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah. If they're there, they're probably gonna submit something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Sometimes just need a nudge.
I've not heard from I know we awarded the bid for the chimney. Were we gonna get
Yep.
together for the contract language?
Yes, and Clay is I'm supposed to see Clay tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is the
Oh.
meeting.
Okay,
So hopefully
okay.
I'll make that.
And then I did reach out on the if you flip it over, I remember we talked about solar a while ago, there was a group that's gotten together. I did reach out to her an email and say, just checking in to see what you're doing, I'd like
Yep.
you to come in and give an update to the board. But I didn't get anything back.
Okay.
So my hope is to get something.
Anything else?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
The only thing I had was,
Yeah. Okay. Any correspondence to other business?
Just update you on the boiler.
Yep.
They just want to wait until after heat season.
Okay.
I guess there's an issue.
and that's for the boiler?
Yeah,
Here.
yeah, the boiler here.
Yeah.
To
That-
repair after the heating
To
season?
repair, yeah.
Yeah, after I talk to them, okay?
Okay.
Because he said, in the
Yeah.
event
If something
Shouldn't be
happens,
a problem.
back-ordered parts or something,
we
yeah.
have a problem, and we end up not
Yeah.
having a boiler for 24 hours.
Right.
Last weekend could have,
And I think.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
So it worked well. I mean, I know you and I talked and you stopped here.
Yeah, I
I think
stopped here.
there's no fallout from anything.
No, I stopped here Friday night just to make sure that the boiler was up and the minis were down a little bit, so that the boiler had to work a little harder, but the minis could help assist, just to make sure the
Seemed
pipes
to
kept
work
flowing.
well.
Then stepped out the door to a building fire,
It
so.
was, I mean, but it was, it
Oh,
wasn't too hot in here, it wasn't
No.
too cold in here.
No, I think we set them at
Maintained.
68 or so, and,
Yeah.
yeah, I set the minis at 65, and, just 'cause like I said, I didn't wanna see the minis take over. John Van was saying his mini was actually keeping up even at 18 below, so,
Really?
yeah, so,
Yeah, no, we went through
so
it.
I think that they're highly efficient units, and I just didn't wanna see them.
Yeah.
I just didn't wanna see them I did open this door just to get some flow in here.
I wondered, I got here first and I'm like, oh, did I leave that?
Was
So
door?
it good?
I left it open.
But that was a test.
Oh, yeah, yeah, did I pass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any building that passed that night.
Yeah, I
That
was
was a
gonna
test,
say.
yeah, exactly.
That is
So,
very true.
Yeah.
Anything that passed that.
Yeah, so,
And I
yeah,
Can we have somebody go check all the other town buildings that aren't as often occupied or visited, especially after this cold snap?
maybe we can have Tony take a ride around.
Okay.
Just to maybe the stone building and
Stone, Town Hall.
Town Hall.
How about, Tony doesn't have it
there's-
until Friday, is that all right? Or do you want Romeo to do it tomorrow?
maybe Romeo should take a ride.
Yeah, sooner
Sooner the
the better.
better, yeah. I think
Is Clinton Grove plumbed? I don't remember.
No,
No.
Clinton Grove has no water, no.
no,
No.
I think it's got a 2-hole or a 3-holer.
Okay,
Alright,
handy,
The, actually, Tony is back Wednesday morning, not Friday.
okay.
So either one, I don't know what Romeo's schedule is tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll find out, yeah. I mean, if he's booked up solid, then we'll just make it.
So you want Town Hall, Stone Building, I say DPW and the others are already occupied.
Right, and the fire
Safety
department does
complex.
theirs,
So just be those two?
basically, yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Town
Yeah.
Hall and Stone would be the biggest ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause the library is occupied.
right.
Let's hope Town Hall's.
I would've heard though. Did we
Yeah.
have a freeze alarm?
Yeah, if
Oh,
the,
yeah,
if the
yeah,
heating
yeah.
system blew, yeah, we would've known
You would've known,
something.
'cause they would've called me.
Is
Right.
the
Yeah.
pump station got a heater in it?
Basement's nice and tight now, too.
I don't know. I don't see
I
it.
don't remember.
It was fine when we were there Thursday?
Town Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 65 degrees in there Thursday.
Perfect, okay. I'm sure it kept up at that temperature then.
Yeah.
Even 18 below.
Yeah.
It was somehow in the winter.
I don't know
And
about
all
the,
the doors
I
were
know
up-
the sewer
all the doors
station,
were
they had to
left
put a
open
new
to the
pump in.
bathrooms, which is
Okay,
good.
good.
I know,
Yeah,
I-
good
I saw
circulation.
that.
I don't think there's any, I mean, I would
I can't
think
remember.
with the.
There's gotta be some kind of heater in there.
Gotta be something in there.
Yeah, some
Well,
kind of,
wouldn't-
there's 2 propane tanks out back, so where are those running?
Wouldn't hurt to just check it, 'cause I
Yeah.
know there hasn't been any footprints to it.
Well, the gentleman that we hired stops every day. He's supposed to check the meter every day.
Oh, really?
That's part of
Inside?
the plan. Well, you gotta read the numbers. That's
I
how
know
you
that.
know if the flow
The
is,
floor was plowed out, I didn't see any footprints going in there.
I'll double check.
Yeah, we could.
Hey, Rick, check your phone real quick. I just sent you something.
Is it pertinent to all of us, John?
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's pertinent to a discussion I think we are going to have. I
That is
just wanna make
correct.
sure.
It's about the MOU.
Okay.
Yep. Yep,
Okay, that's all I would have left would be what you wanna talk
okay,
about. then.
all right. Other business minutes?
She started, but I honestly
I
fell
know,
asleep when I went home.
now that we're
Done.
done
We're-
with the
Yep,
Warren
our-
article.
That's
yeah,
our plan.
That's,
yes.
okay, all
Yep.
right. All right, so we do have a discussion about, an MOU that was brought over last week from the police. Yes. And I don't have.
This is one MOU, correct?
I believe so. Is that
Yes,
how
I
you're
guess.
interpreting it, John? It's one MOU? Even though it's,
That's the way I interpret it, yeah, but I'm a little fuzzy on it, to be perfectly honest.
okay. I just gotta find my file here. I can go find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to dig up the email right now.
January 30th.
All right, thank you.
There's some stuff in red, which I'm assuming the red was added.
Yep,
Okay.
it was correct. So these were discussed in the collective bargaining agreement but the union chose to
Not put it in?
not put them in.
Was there any reasoning behind
Well,
that?
I've emailed Mark. Mark had, a family emergency, and then he was in negotiations today, so I was hoping to get an answer.
And we did not.
We did not. I
All
mean, I understand, I don't,
From memory, it was agreed at the time, there were still clarifications, that's why some of this is in red, that it would be addressed in this format.
Right.
And a lot of them relate directly back to administrative duties of the chief.
which, in the collective bargaining that got sent back,
Mm-hmm.
showed the comp time and it showed the military leave
Right,
in the next April 1st to March 31st contract.
Right.
We did talk about the MOU with the detail, because that's vendor-related.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the comp time and the military leave, that was part of a change in the
Yeah.
collective bargaining. It was my understanding, and that's why unless I lost, was April 1st to March 31st, was these two items were in the new agreement, as far as changes.
Okay.
and they are.
And they're in there with highlighted and marked up.
So if the CBA passes in March, these are already in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those two.
Those two. Okay.
And it would be my understanding that if, I guess it's up to management, but if it doesn't pass,
Mm-hmm.
then I think probably an MOU could be brought to our attention, but these last two are in the marked up set, that Mark
And,
sent us.
and the union and Steve have.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
one I forwarded to the union and said, hey, we need to have a buy-in
Yeah.
by the end of the day, and then things kind of went a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we did talk about the MOU for the detail, because it only has to affect the outside vendor.
Right. But the way I read this, it also affects the town monetarily.
Yes.
Because the way I read that, section E,
Yep.
if the outside work detail rate of the external municipality be lower, then the officer working the outside detail shall be paid the Weare CBA rate. So that right there is a cost to the taxpayer. If
No,
that were to
all the
occur.
detail rates details are expensed out,
Right,
regardless of the rate. They're expensed out to somebody.
right, and I understand that. But the way that I understand that is if that municipality doesn't pay or whatever, the lower rate, which I don't know how they'd be a lower rate, we have our own that we have to make, then there's cost to the taxpayer.
Should the outside detail rate of the external municipality?
Be lower than the Weare CBA rate, then the officer working the outside work detail shall be paid at the Weare CBA rate.
Right.
Well, it was my understanding we're the lowest around anyway.
And we may be, I don't know, but
Yeah,
to
I
me,
just,
that's a cost. If that,
Could be.
potentially it could be, right.
Aren't detail rates discussed before we actually go and do the detail?
Yeah, but in other words, you could take a detail, right? Like someone could offer you up a detail and say, okay, we're gonna pay you $17.50 an hour. You say, sure, I'll take it, because you know you're gonna actually be paid the rate.
Yeah, the detail rate that we've already agreed to.
Right.
That the board and the union have agreed to. So this is why I really want Mark to weigh in on this,
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I can't help you at an emergency.
And that's correct. I understand that there's an emergency there, but I would want to hear his input on all of that as far as what
We
he
have to
thinks.
March 30th for these?
Well, and that's where, I don't know. I mean, we negotiated for April 1st to March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So an MOU, I guess, can be entered in any time.
Right. And I'm not saying I disagree with any of this, I just want to make sure that, A, it's legal,
Right.
and that's why we retain
Yeah.
labor
I don't
counsel.
think anybody's saying that they disagree
Right.
with it. It's just we'd like to make sure we're on
Yeah,
the same
no,
page.
yeah.
But, and I read that as a cost to the town, should that event occur.
Well, I forwarded it to him at the same time that you guys all got it.
Right,
It's unfortunate he's had an emergency.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So-
we, you know, just to make it, again, in fairness, because I'm sure the police are monitoring what's going on here. We don't actually have the final collective bargaining agreement done. I mean, the drafts are done.
We come
the
to an
agree-
agreement, but
we've
we have
come
to
to
wait
an
to town
agreement.
meeting.
Town meeting, right.
Yeah, and I have not seen the actual
The final rough draft.
final draft.
Right, so there's a draft, and I'll send it to all of you. It was the draft that I got that's marked up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
And I
have-
shared
and
it
I
with the
have that,
finance
And I have
committee.
that, and
Right.
I've reviewed
Okay.
that. But, yeah, and at the end of the day, because this is directly linked to that, Mark needs to weigh in.
Oh, I would agree. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's,
there's
yeah.
nothing that really jumps out, it's just,
No.
what do we currently already have, or will have if it's voted in,
Right,
and
yep,
what are the actual ads, so it's just not black and white yet.
Yep.
And the way he does read is you could be taking,
I didn't
yeah, I'll
think,
watch the dog show for, you know.
right, exactly, and that's my thing, is, to me,
Not
there's
that they-
potential.
Yeah, not that they ever would, but.
No, no,
it would be my understanding that, though, our rate is shared when someone calls to hire us. I don't know that, but I'm assuming that
right,
that's only fair. When someone says, how much would it cost for a detail? This is our rates,
Would
or,
think so, you would think so.
And that might be just an assumption, right?
right. Yeah, so I think we, unfortunately, we have to wait until our labor attorney reviews it.
Well, is there any, I mean, this has been kicked down the road at least 1 week now, if not longer.
Is there any associates type thing?
Do you wanna go line item by line item, John?
No, if we're gonna wait for Attorney Brock, that's fine, but is there any way we can try to put this thing to bed at the next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, if Mark weighs in on it, then absolutely, I don't see why not.
Okay, can we ask him to weigh in before?
I've asked for
that?
tonight, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, he had a family emergency.
Oh, okay, I can only hear bits and pieces of what
Oh,
they
I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, he had a family emergency, so it was requested, but he hasn't responded.
Okay,
And today he was in negotiations and other.
Right, and I will
Facility.
just make sure that we have something for Monday night, the 13th.
Right.
My apologies.
okay,
All right?
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Because the police department is submitting this as one.
One MOU, right.
Yes, so we can't go line item by line item and,
No,
okay,
it's an encompassed thing.
okay.
Does anybody else have anything else? I don't think so.
No, I was just getting ready
Yeah,
before
no.
you shut the switch off.
I'm all set. Anybody
Move to
else?
adjourn.
Ooh, I'll second it. Thank you. All in favor. Have a wonderful night.